play with the GOAT. Like this man played in 10. He played in 10. Well, nine. It was 9 Super Bowl at that time. But still, though, he's a guy that has multiple championships, so he knows what it takes to get there. So he kind of like increased our intensity. He kind of like increased our playing level because we want to match his energy.
It's funny and his confidence, right? Because I used to live in Boston, and one of the last Super Bowls he won when he was still in New England, he actually created the Super Bowl commercial of him getting the ring before the season even started of him winning that Super Bowl, which was wild. I think that might have been the year that he was like suspended for the first couple games, and then made a commercial that he was getting his next ring before he even came back.
Just manifested.
Yeah. When you like, so that was obviously a special season, and you've been in the league now for a few years. Do you have anyone that, like, when you're playing, you get really excited to go up against, like, from a wide receiver perspective? Are there certain people that you're like, maybe not, I don't want to go up against them, or there's other people that you're like, I just love when I get to go up against this person? It's a fun matchup the whole game. Like, are there kind of different scenarios with that?
Well, I always say like the funnest matchup I used to love who I love going against the most was always Calvin Ridley, because it's almost like we got like a level of respect for each other, and then we know that both our games it's just fun. We know that we understand we both like good players, so it's always like a good battle between us. He'll give me some reps and I give him some reps, but at the end of the day, you know that we still friends.
Do you like? Are there certain players that you like to work out with in the off season that aren't on the Bucs too?
For the most part, my off-season training is always at the facility, so I don't really get much opportunity to train with other players.
Well, it makes sense too, because you're so close too, right?
Yeah.
It's now let's talk about maybe early influences. Like, was this always the plan? That was the goal of, I'm going to play in the NFL one day, or was there a certain point that it shaped that it's like, now I believe I'm going to go to the NFL? Or were you day one, you're like, that is the goal, that is where I'm going to be, I'm going to manifest it? What
Well,
did that look like?
so interesting story. So I was one of the kids that like, I'm going to be a football player when I grow up. But it's like after a while, like I was good through like youth football, and then got to like my first 2 years of high school. I started seeing like other kids from different like schools getting scholarships and all that stuff, and I'm looking at myself like, yeah, I haven't gotten an offer yet. So I'm like, maybe I'm just not as good as I thought I was. And then, I finally got my first offer going into my junior year from Ohio State. And then that's when they just started rolling. So then, then I suffered like a couple injuries, like my last 2 years. It was like my last 2 years of high school, and then my second year in the college. So I tore both my ACLs. And at a certain point, I was just like, man, maybe football's not for me, because I haven't even got to that point yet, and I already got 3 knee surgeries.
And how do you like get back in that mindset? Because I see this all the time, right? For even people in the pros, they get all these injuries and then they have to bounce back. Like, they tear the Achilles, or like you said, ACL. How do you stay positive when those like injuries happen? Because it probably creates like some dark days, right? When those first happen.
Oh, definitely. Like, like when I had to get my third knee surgery, I probably hit a point when I said, you know what, I don't think I want to play football anymore. So, I was talking to my mom about it, and then, she gave me an earful saying like I didn't come this far just to quit. So luckily I had a good support system behind me, because
Yeah.
I was like at a point where I was like a point of no return. But then luckily I had other college teammates I still talking about to this day, Josh Hosley, because my man, I already tore my ACL, and then, he had just came back from an ACL injury. So then I see him out like that, his last year, like he had a hell of a year. So I'm just like, man, like if he did it there, I'm pretty sure like I got the ability like to fight, like to push through too.
It's amazing how the recovery of ACLs has just like, it has gotten so much more fat. But I also think part of it is not just because of the medical advance, it's people pushing each other even more after those injuries to get back to where they were and be better. Because you see a lot of people that are even better after the ACL injury, right? They're able to bounce back and work hard and get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about it.
No,
But
no, you go.
it just like those type of injuries, it shows you how strong you really are as a person. And then if you ever to overcome that adversity, it brings out a different character in you that you didn't know you had.
You mentioned your mom was one of the people that was kind of pushing you, right? Were there kind of who were early influences in your career, like that pushed you? Were there certain coaches? Were there other certain players, like you were saying, your buddy that you played with?
I,
Who were some influences?
for the most part, it was everybody had like an impact in my life. My mom, dad, coaches that I had in Little League, from football to track. And then I also had a couple buddies too that could we all wanted to be we always wanted to do something special for the city.
And is how important would you say for a young athlete that support system is? Because I know not everyone has that good support system. So how important was that in your life in order to get you to where you are in the NFL today?
Yeah, so honestly, without the support system, I probably wouldn't have been playing football right now.
Wow.
Cause like it's really important, because sometimes it's hard to do things on your own. It's hard, but at least you got that support system that sometimes you got somebody that's in your ear, like drilling you, like, come on, man, you can't give up and all this stuff. Like at a certain point, you're gonna hit yourself, like, if they got so much confidence in me, why I don't have the same confidence in myself?
When you were playing in the Super Bowl against like Mahomes, what was that like? Like, because obviously you got to play with the goat, and then Mahomes is kind of this generation's, but like, or that's what he's working towards, but he's doing pretty well at it right now, right?
Yeah.
He's chasing Brady, right? What was it like playing against a player like that? You've played against a lot of great players, but what was it like against going up against a quarterback like that?
Oh man, it was great, especially since they beat us in the regular season. So we was like, oh, we get our rematch again. And then it was a real moment, because we know that we already seen that Pat Mahomes is going to be like a Hall of Famer one day. So to say that we was able to beat, like, to shut him out in the Super Bowl it's great bragging rights.
The defense was so dominating in that Super Bowl too. He was running for his life half the time, right? Back in the pocket, and you guys had the wide receivers. It must be when you play certain players like that, though, that can roll out of the pocket. It makes your job that much more difficult, right? Because now all of a sudden, especially in the days when they had Tyreek, right? They would just be able to freelance a lot of the time, and that when those plays happen, how difficult is it for you to have to react to that?
For the most part, we actually like just we actually train for that during the week. We call it plaster. Where it's almost like it's almost playing like backyard football. So you just stay with your guy until the quarterback either throws the ball away or he gets sacked.
Throughout your career, what would be like? Obviously, the Super Bowl being in the Super Bowl is a big moment. But are there any like defining moments that you're like, I will always remember this game, this play, for whatever reason?
So I'm gonna always remember I'm always remember my Wilkington NFL game when I got humbled. And then I'm also remember the very next game after that too, which I like bounced back from. It was my rookie year. So I guess so it was playing against Seattle. So I was always on special teams. So at the time I wasn't listening to the coach, and they said, make sure you prepare like you're going to play, because you don't know when you're going to play. And then, like, we already like we midway through the season. I'm just like, hey, I'm just a special teams guy. And then out of nowhere, right before kickoff, Dean, you're up. I was like, oh God. So then, I got humbled. I gave up 3 touchdowns, probably 230 yards. Everybody was basic. I that was like a bad first impression I had. So that it brought us out of me, like, come on, man. I had to tell myself, like, I was really hard on myself. I was like, you're better than that. I was telling the coaches, like, I promise you that's not gonna ever happen again and all that stuff. So then, I took the time to start like watching film, going upstairs early and watching film with Todd Bowles to tell him to teach me the game. And then the very next game, like, once again, I was back to being a special team player, but I was ready this time. So then we playing against the Cardinals. So then one of our corners was playing, and then I guess he had a loaf on the play. Head coach got mad. Bruce Arians got mad. Get him out of there. Todd Bowles looked at me and then went right to the next guy. I was like, dang, I might have just ruined my chances of playing again off of that one game. I was like, and then he went in there and gave up a touchdown. So then Todd Bowles came up to me like, well, I guess I'm out of options. I have to play you. And then I end up being I ended up having an amazing game. I had three PBUs, a crucial interception towards the end of the game, and I was like rated the top cornerback for the week. So I went from literally the worst quarterback in the league to the best quarterback in the league in a matter of 2 games.
I love it. That bounce back. But
Yeah.
those moments are what help drive you, though, too, right? Like I feel like players need to have those bad games in order to take it up a level and get back to, get to where they believe they should be. So, what would you say some of the biggest difference that you were obviously you had Bruce Arians as head coach, Todd Bowles. How did their coaching styles differ?
Well, for the most part, Bruce Arians was more of an offensive guy, so I didn't really like deal with him as much. But I mainly dealt with Todd Bowles because he was our defensive coordinator.
And then obviously he became the head coach. What was that impact? Was it still like? Did it still seem? I always wonder, right? Whenever you have an offensive or defensive coach that moves into the head coaching role, does it actually change much of like anything for you?
It didn't. Much didn't really change. At the
Yeah,
end of the day,
probably more for offense, right? In that situation.
I mean, on the offensive side of the ball, they now they have to like worry about Bowles standing next to them during practice and all that stuff. But for the most part, it's still the same for defense because he still call our defense.
It must be pretty cool for you in practice because you get to go up against. I'm sure there's a lot of corners out there that are jealous because of the people you get to go up against every day in practice that make you better, right? Like, what is it like going up against like a Mike Evans or a Chris Godwin or some of the other guys that you have?
Ooh, I mean, you have to bring it every practice because they're not going to take you lightly because they treating every rep as a game. So it's good like get you like mentally prepared for that type of stuff because you're going against one of the best duos in the league. So if you could like at least train with them, you go against somebody else who's like, all right, these guys are good, but they're not like Mike Evans and Chris.
Yeah, you're already going up against some of the best every single day in practice. A lot of people don't get that opportunity, right? Um, Is talk us through like the practice like dynamic like is there much like jawing going back and forth in practice when you're covering these guys, or is it none of that?
No, it's none of that. It's just good. It's just that was a good rep that play, good rep that play. It's always positive stuff.
I love that. That's making each other better, right? That's the goal.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to most about this upcoming season? Obviously, we're a couple months out, but it comes up fast.
I just want to see how much we improve from last year because we fell short in the second round, so we just want to see like mainly just seeing like where did we go wrong and what can we do better to get us past that point.
Yeah, it's I mean a lot of people though after Brady left, a lot of people wrote the Bucs off, right? And you guys actually you obviously your expectation you want to win Super Bowls, right? So I'm sure that just making the playoffs and getting to that point isn't enough for you. Um but from a lot of people like you guys last year from an outsider point of view, like you did very well. How do you continue to improve on that? What do you think you guys need to, I guess, maybe continue to, or what are you working on? What do you think you want to continue to get better at with your game?
Honestly, really, I need to work on my just bringing like having like more tool, like having like more like tools in my toolbox. So that's what I'm doing. Like I'm doing in all season right now, just practicing different techniques to give like receivers and quarterback different looks. So they don't just, all right, this is what he do. He's going to keep doing this. We just have to beat this. I mean, he's good at doing this, but we just have to beat this.
When you were like new on the team, was there a particular like were there any particular corners on the team that really like the vets that had an influence on you?
Oh, so the thing was when I got to the league, literally the oldest vet we had was Carlton Davis at the time, and he was only in year 2.
Man, so at that point it's more just pushing each other, right? Like you're not going
Yeah,
to have that. I mean, it's wild when that's the vet, right?
yeah.
The
So
2-year player.
yeah, so I didn't have a true cornerback vet until we had got Richard Sherman going in my third year. That was the first time I actually had like a true vet.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Richard Sherman was on the team. Yeah, the amount of amazing like wide receivers too. I was just thinking back to all the people that you've had there, and then yeah, having Gronkowski too. Was he a goofball? Good guy, goofball.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy and also a goofball too.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch the roast with Brady and him and all those guys coming up too, which is going to be it'll be interesting. Um, what I also want to focus on, we can talk football, but I also want to talk about something, that I know you will have interest in, right? Like is what is life? I know you have plenty left in the tank, but what does life after football look like? What's an ideal scenario that you want to go into from like a business perspective? What areas are of
Well,
interest?
so as of right now, I'm currently working on my trucking company, and I'm trying to build my commercial real estate portfolio.
I love it. All right, tell us more.
All right, so started my trucking company in 2021. It's called Damasid Trucking, DMASID Trucking. So got into it during like I got curious about it because I was just driving on the highway and just seeing like 18 wheelers, and I like told myself, well, I never like looked into it, so let me just see what it is. I'm a nerd, so I like to just see random things that I don't know about it. I just read about it. Then I read about it. Then I had a friend from middle school that got into it too. So I picked his brain about it. He said it's pretty nice and all that stuff. So I'm like, well, let me try it out. So then I ended up like getting my first rig that same year. So we started off with just doing like just power only loads. Like companies would have their trailer, but they just need the truck to pull it. So then we started that for a while, just for like to learn about the ins and outs of it. And you know, it's good when it's good, and it's bad it's bad. Being an investment.
And how do you take like your experience like how would you say the best ways you learn are? Like you obviously you found someone that had some experience in it. You worked with them to learn more about the space. How do you learn best, would you say?
Well, I feel like the best teacher is experience. So I
That's
mean,
what I guess it's interesting. How so like let's say post career, do you believe you'll continue to get even more into commercial like the real estate and then also with the trucking company?
yeah. So I'm working on a commercial real estate deal right now. So I'm trying to like start. Trying to start it now. So it's a smooth transition to get into my life after football because I don't want to have that gray area of like what I'm gonna do. So once I retire, and it's like I can just easy to transition to commercial real estate and trucking. Even though commercial real estate is more hands off. So trucking, I guess like trucking company gonna give me that extra purpose to get up in the morning.
Does your competitiveness in football translate over to those spaces as well?
Oh, definitely. That's what it is. Like it's a competition.
Are there other areas that you have interest in also expanding into, do you think? Post obviously you're super busy now, but as you start to you said it's still hands off, the commercial real estate's more hands off, the trucking will be more hands on. Is there any other areas of interest you're like that could be kind of cool post career to look into?
Not yet. I haven't like looked into that yet.
And I'm sure plenty of those opportunities will come up. Again, you have plenty left in the in the tank. Do you have like an ideal timeline for how long you want to be in the league? How long you want to play?
Well, I always told myself 8. Like, cause I remember my friend dad, he did. My friend dad, he played in the league for like 8 years. So I just in my mind, I was like 8 is ideal.
And as you've been in for a couple of years now, does that still seem like the case? You're like, I'm feeling pretty good right now. I could
Yeah,
play a lot
and
longer.
like yeah, the fact that it's flying by, and that's like, dang, I'm probably around like year 8. I might just start like 1 year myself out the league, just like take it 1 year at a time. But then it's like, dang, I am young and still feel pretty good for the most part.
What does kind of your recovery look like? Like how do you continue to stay in shape? Do you have like a post game kind of ritual that you end up going through that this is how you feel great the next day?
Yeah, so after the game, I'll probably drink a cold one just to help go to sleep.
Okay.
And then after that, I probably the next it's all about the next day. So I get massages and I get stretched, get in the cold tank, roll out, and I do everything possible.
And is that do you find what does kind of your bounce back look like? So you have a game on, let's say you have a game on Sunday, like I mean, you're probably feeling a little sore the next day. When are you feeling like exceptional after that Sunday game?
Oh, I start feeling good the Saturday before the game.
so so like when you hear of like, so you were obviously a part of the league when it was 16 games. How when you went to that 17th game, did you
Woo.
feel it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now they're talking 18 games in the near future.
I
You're
know.
really gonna feel it.
Yeah, you definitely. I mean, it's just gonna feel long. It just
And they talk about though taking away a preseason game, but that didn't really like.
it don't change anything. It just now it just we just start playing more aggressive games
Yeah,
earlier.
it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I know a lot of the fans will be excited though if they do for the 18th, just for that. Everyone always works that next day after the Super Bowl, so I think that's part of the reason too. They want to work it in there because then everyone would get a day off the next day to stay up as late and cheer you guys on. It's interesting. Do you what is kind of your pregame? Do you have pregame rituals that you always follow as well?
For the most part, it just a normal day for me. Just get up, eat breakfast, and then I get to the stadium 3 hours before kickoff and just listen to music, do like a yoga session, and then get ready for the game.
Is it you have a certain is there like a game playlist or are you just listening to, does it kind of change every game?
Yeah, it changes every game. All depends on my mood. It could be country, it could be house music, gospel.
Okay, I like it. So you listen to a little bit of everything then.
Yeah.
What are you liking right now? Are there any particular artists across all those different genres that you're like, I am listening to them right now. They're my faves.
No, I listen to Young Jeezy all the time. So
Okay. He has a lot of pump up music too. So that's probably
yeah.
before games. That's good. And what about from a country?
Basically Luke Combs.
Okay. Sweet. That's cool. Yeah, it's I always like when you meet people and they like a little bit of everything. It's you're a fun person to be around too because if someone's listening to one genre, you're not changing the
Yeah, I
song
know,
on it,
right?
right?
That's the whole point of me. I don't. At least I can like just be anywhere and not be bored.
Yeah. Do you still have it, like our how cool is it? Like not many people get to play in the state that they grew up. How cool was it for you to be able to play football in the state where you played most of your football?
Oh, it was a great feeling, especially because I ain't have to worry about dealing with the cold. I mean, I still deal with it, but only for like a day.
Oh yeah, but it's funny down here, isn't it? When it does, because coming from Boston, when it's cold down here, everyone's in the winter hats and everything, and it's not that cold, but for here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
So
funniest thing coming from Boston was seeing everyone wear like you see some gloves and some hats, and it would be like 40
like,
degrees, but it is cold. So like when it hits 40, it is cold here.
sure, when it hit 60, it's cold.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's especially if there's no humidity. If
Hmm.
there's no humidity, it is very very cold. Um, that's funny. And like, were there certain? I mean, similar climate too, right? To when you were playing at Auburn, like temperatures there and everything very similar to what we have here. We have a little bit more of a breeze because we're by the water. But
We have a breeze here.
what's how is it? So obviously, there's people that you're in the pros. Not many people get to play at like a school like Auburn too. What was it like in college? Like that is obviously one of the big football schools. Did you feel that? Did you feel that with the fans at every game that this is like, because they don't have a pro team, right? So they're coming to your games and they're getting excited.
Oh yeah, so like they take football serious over there. It's almost like a holiday for them. So I enjoyed it because like Auburn's a small town, but it's like everybody come together just for like football. It's yes, football is finally here, and then like just walking past the tailgate and doing like the ritual, the Tiger Walk ritual. You see everybody outside just to see you guys walk to the stadium. So it was almost like it's memories that I probably would never forget.
It was high school and college football in those areas, right? They don't have that pro team to go out and cheer for on Sundays.
Nope.
Yeah. So I'm sure you feel that impact. Now you were playing in college before all these nil deals, right? The
Oh
NIL deal.
man.
Let's hear what you think about these. I mean, you missed out on something, but
Oh,
what do you think?
granted, I like the fact that kids are finally like athletes are making money off their name now, but then at the same time, it's almost like I think they're getting kind of a little spoiled at the same time. So it's almost like what's going to like do they? I'm just trying to figure like do they still have that same drive like to go to the NFL still, or it's like, well, I'm getting paid this amount of money in college, so I might just stay in college as long as I can.
Well, it was interesting watching the draft because, like, you get drafted in the third round. You're on that team now. You're grinding. You want to continue to make the team, and then also set yourself up right so that you're having success. The team's winning, and then to set yourself up for that contract. By the way, congrats on the contract you recently
I
signed.
appreciate it.
I know there's a lot of hard work that goes into that. But you're working for that contract. You're working for that success. And my one worry is they're interviewing all the people on draft night, and they're like, "What is it? This is life changing, right? You signed this. I don't really need the money.
Yeah, I know,
Like,
right?
you
Like
weren't
it's
in that
crazy.
position as a draft pick, right? Like, it's kind of a wild thing to hear."
Yeah. Oh, I don't need the money. I'm like, man, shoot. When I was in college, we was living off of what the Pell Grant,
Yeah,
and maybe what we was getting like 800, $900 a month. But shoot, I had a car and car insurance to pay, so that was gone.
it kind of went zero to 100 really quickly, right? Like it went from you weren't getting that to people are making now millions in college. There was
Yeah,
no middle ground of like a slow.
yeah.
I
It's
mean, good
just
for them though, right? At
I
the end of
know,
the
right?
day, yeah,
No, must be
it's
nice to be freaking 18-year-old and seeing six figures.
yeah, it is quite wild, and it is good to hear that Reggie Bush got his Heisman back because all this stuff
Oh yeah,
you kind of need to give it to him.
he deserved that because that year there, that I still remember that year, man. That was crazy.
I remember him in also like from like how good it was the NCAA video game, how dominant even the video game. They really made that right. That'll be interesting to see too when that game comes out to see if it's back to where it used to be. Um, Actually, would you have been in that? No, they got rid of the game, right?
Yeah,
You in college,
yeah.
you weren't in there.
Nope.
Do you play Madden
No, I
much?
don't. No, I really don't. I really don't play sports game as much. I'm more of a first person shooting game.
Okay, you are like Call of Duty or
Yeah. Sometimes I play Call of Duty until it pisses me off. Then I then I switch to Apex.
you
You
like
know,
Apex?
yeah, I like Apex. At least I know at Apex, if someone kills me, it's just because they just outshot me. It is not because their gun was better. They had all these attachments. Man, Call of Duty, people just have better
Oh,
guns than
and
that.
they have aimbot
Yeah, that
in Call of
too.
Duty. Yeah, which is frustrating, right? When you just absolutely lose immediately and it's someone's like hacking. Oh, that's funny. What do you like to do outside though? So you said you'll game sometimes. You have your business. What else outside of football do you really enjoy doing?
So I literally got into golfing more.
Okay, how's that been?
Oh, I mean, it's a slippery slope, man. So I still play though. You know, I have my 3 or 4 good hits, and I'm just like, yeah, these are the shots that keeps me playing, even though I'm bad at it, but I'm learning.
What's been the toughest part of like trying to pick up golf?
Hitting the ball.
Just that contact point.
Yeah, like just hitting it straight. You mean to tell me is this hard to hit a stationary ball?
How do you feel with like chipping and putting?
Putting is hit or miss. Chipping, I mean, I'm still trying to figure out like what's the right swing for it because sometimes I hit it short or I hit it over, and
It
then
is so tough. It is such a tough game.
yeah, and then I pray, and then I be praying I don't hit it in the bunker.
You have to
That's
worry about the gators down here too.
uh
Have you
yeah.
seen any on the courses that you played
Oh,
at?
all the time.
Yeah, it's I went from being up north, never seeing. I mean, you probably grew up. You've seen gators your whole life, then, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I never like saw many. Obviously, we don't have them in Boston. So you come down here and you see them everywhere, but especially on golf courses, they're all over the
Mhm.
place.
Just don't hit your
Uh,
ball over there.
do you hope to continue to get better at that? Like, is that competitiveness starting to come out in golf as well?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, thing is, I like about golf because you meet interesting people during like when you go golfing. So sometimes I just go by myself and then just join a squad of 3 or 4 and be like, hey, I'm Jamel. Nice to meet you guys. What do you guys do? And then the amount of people that you run into, lawyers,
Yeah,
general
a lot of good.
contractors.
Yeah, that are playing all the time too, which is it's interesting to see. It is one of those games too. You just the more you play, the better you end up getting. That's fun. Have you been to any? Do you like Top Golf and stuff like that? Do you like those fun places?
Yeah, so that's why I thought I was good at golf because of Top Golf.
Yeah, I mean, they make it fun. I thought that too until I went on the golf course after Top Golf, and It's one thing to just hit the ball and into the net right there, to go and keep it on the course and not put it in the bunker.
Yeah.
Oh man. What's do you have anything fun planned this upcoming summer that you've been really looking forward to? I know you get busy, you're already busy, but you get even more busy as the season approaches. Or are you just going to be relaxing until season kicks off?
So I'm trying to take a trip to Mexico for the first time because like 2 years ago I had won a trip there to Mexico off of an auction, and I have to October to use it. Really, I have to the summer to use it. So it's been like I had it for it's like almost it expires in 2 years. It expires in 2 years. So October gonna be the 2 year mark. And I'm like, well, if I don't use it in the summer, then I mean, I'll just well, it wouldn't be a waste of money because it's going to a good cause, but still just like, dude, you had 2 years to freaking use it.
Oh, so that clock is ticking. You're like,
Yeah.
I better get on this. That's cool. Have you been before? Would this be the
No,
first time?
I never been to Mexico.
I haven't been either. I heard there's some really cool spots though. I'm sure it'd be a fun time for you though. That'd be actually a cool thing for you to do definitely before the season too. Is like very relaxing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, by the way, thanks again for coming on and talking about this. And I'll definitely stay in touch. What I would love to do more with athletes is also to like when you were talking football, your eyes were lighting up. When you were talking your trucking company, your eyes were lighting up. I would love to be kind of that avenue where we also talk about the business side of things in terms of what's next for you, right? Because you'll be focusing on your businesses just as much, if not more, years of your life post the game. So, post your playing career. So it's always fun to talk about that and see where things are heading. But obviously, wishing you the best of luck this upcoming season and the rest of your career and with the business as well.